There is a specific breed of creator who refuses to build within the confines of the old world. They are the visionary tycoons, fiercely independent architects who reject traditional governments to engineer their own civilizations from the ground up. This archetype is rooted in the philosophy of the sovereign individual, the prime mover, who refuses to compromise their vision for the sake of the collective. To test the durability of this archetype, we can examine two simulated environments: Andrew Ryan's underwater utopia of Rapture and Mr. House's post-apocalyptic desert fortress of New Vegas. Ryan operates on a model of utopian idealism. His entire system relies on absolute, unchecked individual freedom and total ideological purity. House constructs the antithesis. His system is defined by pragmatic control, relying on clear-eyed authority and rigid structural enforcement. The pursuit of pure, unregulated freedom tends to collapse into the exact tyranny it sought to escape. Yet, a centralized, rigidly controlled oligarchy can absorb extreme stress and actually thrive, preserving civilization where others fall. Sustainable sovereignty cannot rely on noble ideology alone. It requires the integration of pragmatic control and Machiavellian adaptability. To avoid becoming tyrants over our own lives and organizations, we must engineer systems that survive contact with the brutal realities of human nature. Andrew Ryan built Rapture on a strict premise: no gods or kings, only man. He enforced an absolute laissez-faire policy, an economic and social environment with zero structural safety nets. He adopted this extreme stance in response to the collectivism he fled, governments that utilized state force to seize the earned wealth of great individuals. But Rapture's architecture contained a fatal systemic flaw. Ryan designed a society that ignored the human shadow, the psychological concept of the darker, irrational impulses inherent in human behavior. By establishing extreme individualism without fraternity or community structures, the city rapidly fractured into social atomization and alienation. Unrestrained self-interest, operating without any regulatory bounds, created a massive, exploited underclass boiling with resentment. Opportunistic demagogues easily exploited this void of belonging. They weaponized the isolated citizens, turning Ryan's atomized utopia against him. Facing the total destruction of his city, Ryan was forced to betray his laissez-faire values to maintain control. He banned religion, executed smugglers, and established a total police state. The man who dedicated his life to the concept of free will became the ultimate dictator. He demonstrated that unchecked freedom, applied without wisdom, becomes its exact opposite. Pushing noble principles to fanatical extremes without fail-safes turns a philosophy into a prison, inevitably mutating freedom into slavery. Mr. House operates on the exact antithesis of Rand's idealist utopia. He is a strict pragmatist. He does not preach about liberty. He demands order, efficiency, and measurable results. His core operational assumption is that human nature in a post-apocalyptic wasteland will inevitably default to violent lawlessness, tribalism, and chaos. To survive this reality, he imposes a hard, centralized structural grid and absolute enforcement from day one. House never expected a self-governing paradise. He anticipated conflict and built the power structures required to handle it. Limited liberty is permitted within his walls, but only insofar as it directly benefits the city's overall prosperity and stability. This is the necessity of Machiavellian realism in governance. Unromantic, clear-eyed authority proves more resilient than inconsistent idealism. Establishing strong enforcement and structure from the very beginning, rather than hoping people will naturally play nice, is the prerequisite for preserving civilization. Survival also depends on the variable of time and the strategic adaptability of the leader. Ryan made a fatal error here. He clung to a static, unchanging vision of Rapture, even as the economic and social realities shifted violently beneath him. House, however, operates on an extreme 200-year strategic horizon. His primary goal is to advance humanity by any tactical means necessary. He is constantly willing to plot, pivot, form alliances, or execute ruthless eliminations based entirely on shifting environmental data. Ultimately, ideological purity is a structural weakness. If a tactic fails or a rule no longer serves the mission, the leader must modify it. This requires emotional detachment. House operates as a nearly post-human entity whose judgment is never clouded by personal feelings. Compare that to Ryan's ego. His personal pride and fury at his citizens' perceived betrayal drove him to self-destruct his own creation out of spite. Strategic adaptability and emotional discipline are the mechanisms of survival. Rigid dogma and unchecked ego blind a leader to reality and guarantee systemic failure. The ultimate solution to this paradox requires evolution. The modern builder must transition from a lone visionary into an integrated sovereign. We must marry the passionate ambition and creative independence of the idealist with the unsentimental, calculating adaptability of the pragmatist. Survival demands the audacity of the Ryan visionary, synthesized with the cold-blooded hardness of the House strategist. First, plan for stability. Back up your ambitious visions with actual structure, clear rules, and contingency plans that explicitly account for the flaws in human nature. Second, embrace just authority. Do not shy away from wielding enforcement. People appreciate strong, fair leadership because it provides certainty in a chaotic environment. Third, hybridize the archetypes. Maintain the calculating mindset of the strategist while holding on to the heart of the visionary. This prevents you from becoming a cold tyrant or a blind zealot. Sovereignty acts as a bridge to a higher order, natural law. Natural law refers to the universal moral principles, like non-aggression and personal responsibility, that ensure power is used to protect liberty rather than serve a ruler's ego. The lasting success of any creation depends on the discipline, structure, and adaptability required to withstand the brutal realities of the world.